Hello everyone. I wanted to make a guide tonight on how to do a backup on your computer. The reason why I wanted to do this as my first video is because this should be the first step you take before you do any major changes to your computer, or if it's acting up, showing signs that there may be a problem, or just general everyday maintenance. It's pretty basic. It's gonna be some pretty basic knowledge for most people. And then if there's a couple of people that aren't so sure about it, I'm just gonna run through real quick of how to do this and how to grab your files and the best way and the easiest way to just make a backup of them. There's only a couple of things I want to go over before I start. One is I'm going to be doing this video in Windows XP. Uh, it's a I think that's going to be the most common operating system that everybody's working on right now. There's obviously a lot of other Windows out there, and this video may not directly show what it would look like in those operating systems, but I will be doing my videos in Windows XP and Windows 7. So even if you're not on XP, a lot of these things will look different, but you'll be able to take the idea and hopefully get it. If not, like I said, I'll probably be doing a video in Windows 7 doing the same thing. Something else, when you're making a backup, a mistake I've seen in the past from customers and just different people I've talked to is a lot of people, they'll start going down the right path and knowing they need to make a backup, but then they make the backup on the exact same media that the data's already on. And by media, I mean hard drive or jump drive, USB, whatever it is. Don't make your backup on that same media. And the reason is, if let's say we have some pictures on this computer here and we make a backup of those pictures on the same hard drive, well, if something happens, if this hard drive goes out, gets hit by lightning, gets a virus, nothing works, well, you're not going to be able to get to your second or third copies of the data anyway. So we're going to want to make sure we have some second media to move our data to. Usually this is going to be a jump drive, like a USB stick, or an external hard drive. Also, CDs and DVDs would work too. USB drive, they're so cheap nowadays, I'd really recommend getting one of those. Even if you already have one that you use for stuff, I would recommend getting a second one just for the purpose of doing backups. That way we can put our backup on it. You can throw it in a drawer, throw it in your firebox, whatever, and never use it. Nothing can happen to it. So once we have that, you're just going to grab a few folders in here. Now this is going to be a basic backup. There may be some other stuff on your computer you want, but we're real quick just going to grab My Documents and a couple of little settings. Your My Documents is going to include your My Music, My Pictures, My Videos, downloads, things like that. So pretty much if you ever go in a program, create something, let's say like in Microsoft Word, that document you create will be stored in your documents. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here to Start, My Computer. In this window here, we will see a few things about this computer, some information. One of them is going to show hard drives. You may have more than one hard drive in your computer. That's perfectly fine. We're going to be dealing in the C drive, which is going to be your main primary hard drive. And then down below you'll see devices with removable storage. That's going to be where your USB will show up. Also, it's going to be where your CD drives will show up. You can see I already have my USB stick plugged in here. And that's where we're going to be. I'm going to be putting my data. Now, your window may look a little different here. If you have other stuff plugged in, printers or anything else, or if it's maybe in a different view, which is up here, these are just different views, it may look different, but pretty much you should be able to find your USB stick that you plug in and your C drive somewhere along in here. So what we're going to do to start out is we're going to double click into our C drive here. Once that pulls up, you'll see some folders. The one we're going into is going to be Documents and Settings. Once we're in Documents and Settings, it's going to show all the users that have profiles on this computer. If you have a bunch of other people that have different profiles and they each have data on their computer, or under their profile, you're going to want to do the same thing we're about to do with our profile, just under their folder. So, and a quick way to know what profile you're working under is just go back down here and click Start, and up at the top right here, whatever that name is, that's what profile you're working under. And that's what data we're about to make a backup of. So you can see I'm under this one. We're going to go find that corresponding folder in here, and it's right here. So we're going to double click into that, and that's going to be all of my personal folders. This is going to show settings I make, preferences I make, everything. When I log into my profile, this is what my profile is accessing. Now we're going to be grabbing 3 folders out of here, or 3 files. The important one is right here, my documents. That's everything under my profile. That's where my pictures are, my music. You can see right here when I hover over it, it's my downloads, my received files, it's everything. And when you hover over real quick, it should tell you the size of it. And you can see right here, mine is 304 megabytes. That'll give you a quick idea of what you need to be, what needs to be free on the device you're about to move this to. So if I know this is going to be about 304 megabytes, if you know, I know I'm going to need at least that much space on where it's going. Now if this is really extremely large, you know, if it's all stuff, a lot of times you'll go in here and there will be, you know, 30 gigs of music or something crazy like that. It depends on how much that music means to you, if you want to pay for the means to back it up, or if it's worth risk losing kind of thing. If you want it, you can move it. It'll just take a while to move over. If you want to go buy you a 500 gig hard drive, that's fine. But pretty much this is the important stuff right here. This is what is important to most people. It's going to be this My Documents folder. Now there are other things. There can be other files and data on your computer in other locations. And if you think there's something really important on your computer that you're worried about, that you don't think is backed up, just send me an email, and I could tell you where it is. One quick example would be Outlook. If you're using Outlook as your mail program on your computer, grabbing this folder right here is not going to get your mail. That's in a different place. So this is going to get just your basic stuff. And I think for right now, if nothing else, if people can just start backing this up, it'll save a lot of headaches. I think the reason why creating a backup is, for some reason, thought of as difficult is because of everything that's been put out on the market. You see commercials and you see all these programs and you hear all these horror stories of backups, and people, I guess, it gets overthought and gets intimidating. There's absolutely nothing to it. If you take your computer into a repair shop or wherever and you ask for a backup, they're going to charge you $50, $60, $100 to drag and drop some folders. And maybe they, you know, say they're doing it in a secure way, or they're storing the data on their computers or whatever. Either way, why do you want them to have your data, and why on earth would you pay them $100 when I'm about to have to show you how to do it in, you know, 4 clicks of your mouse? So anyways, just to get along here, like I said, this is going to be basic. If you have any questions or want to double check anything else, just email me. But pretty much we got this open here. We're going to go back to Start, My Computer, and we're going to go to our jump drive that we've plugged in. So we have both these windows open here. We're going to open up My Backup, and if you have any files here, any folders here, that's all fine, because just as long as there's room for what you're making. But we're going to go in here and make a new folder, which we're going to right click with the mouse in some free space here, and we're going to go to New and Folder, and we're going to call this folder My Backup, and then we're going to put today's date. Oops. Okay, and then we're going to hit enter, and we're going to double click into this folder we just created, and it'll be blank. Now we're going to click back into this window over here, and while we're holding the control button, which is usually in the bottom left of your keyboard, CTRL, control, we're going to hold that button down on our keyboard. We're going to click My Documents. We are going to click Favorites, and while we're holding control, And what this allows us to do is to select more than one at a time. And then we're going to still, while we're holding control, we're going to click desktop. And now we can let the control button up. And these are our three main ones. These two over here, this is going to be all your My Pictures, My Music that we talked about earlier. These two, they're kind of convenience. This one is just going to be all the shortcuts and all the little links and files that you had on your desktop background. Favorites is going to be anything you bookmarked and saved in your Internet Explorer browser. Those are just for convenience. This is really what we're trying to save right here. Once we have these three selected, we are just going to right click on any one of these three. We're going to click copy, and then we're going to click back into over here, and we're going to right click over here and click paste. And that is going to tell the computer to copy this data from our C drive to our jump drive. And I want to point out, this is copying. This isn't moving, deleting, nothing like that. Nothing over here nothing's going to change. When we remove this jump drive, everything that was there before is still going to be on your computer. You can still go start My Pictures, they're all there. So you're not losing anything there, and everything will work the same. You're just going to have a complete duplicate of it on this media, whatever you're using, the jump drive, for example, here. And one more thing I want to point out is when you make a backup of your data, a lot of people sometimes think they want to back up their programs that are installed on there. And the example I always give is if you installed Microsoft Office on your computer and then you went in there and created a file or a document, we're going to go back up the document, not Microsoft Office, not Word. That can be reinstalled on the computer. So you can get Word back, you can't get the document you created back, and that's why we want to back up your document. So a lot of times when people think they have a ton of data on their computer, the programs and stuff may be a lot of data, but usually your documents aren't that much. So this is just a real quick way to show you how to make a quick backup of all your stuff. We can close these windows out. Down here at the bottom, you'll see a little icon, Safely Remove Hardware. Double click into that. Double click into your device and confirm that you want to stop that. And what all that's doing is that's telling the computer that you're about to remove your USB drive, and it will stop communicating with it. It's just a good way to make sure your data doesn't get corrupt, and especially you want to take this extra step when it's something important. So now we're going to remove our jump drive, and we have a backup of all of our pictures and documents. So now if anything happens, this can go on our new computer. So again, this may seem a little basic for a lot of users, but really we just want to start here, and later on, hopefully when we're doing the more advanced videos, you'll be able to gain something from that as well. So stay tuned, and hopefully I will be getting up my first big guide. It's going to be basic tune-ups and performance tweaks for your computer. The number one question I get all the time is, why is my computer so slow? So there's a lot of things in that. So I think that's going to be my next guide. But again, stay tuned. Thank you.